Hello.
Hello, hello, girly pops. My name is Ingela Dubs, and welcome back to Allo, the place where we don't sugarcoat stuff. Okay, we talk like we're just on the phone. And if you're new here, my name is Ingelore, and if you have been here before, I love you, and you already know the vibes. And the drink of the day, it's a very watered down latte that it's probably a 0 out of 10, but I'm already committed to it, so I'm gonna drink it. Okay, today we're talking about something that's been low key bothering me for quite a while, but I didn't know the language for it until literally the other night I woke up and I was like, toxic positivity. That is what it is. It's this idea of even if you're going through the darkest moment of your life, everything is going to be fine. Or you should just look at the bright side or find the lesson. Pardon me? No. Because sometimes looking at the bright side and just finding the lesson just makes you feel more disconnected of whatever it is you're going through than actually saying, yeah, this sucks. I am actually struggling. It sucks. So let's just get into it because I feel like we live in this weird time where everyone is preaching about mental health and manifestation. And don't get me wrong, I love a good manifestation moment because I do. But not everything has to be turned into a freaking Pinterest quote. Like, why is it that when I say I feel very overwhelmed or this situation really sucks, someone always hits me with the, but at least you have X, Y, and Z, or look at the lesson, or like, oh my gosh, but you are so blessed to stop. Simply stop because I am aware of all of the blessings that I have and all of the good things that are happening in my life. But right this moment, I am simply overwhelmed. And it should be okay to say out loud. Like, you shouldn't be ostracized by saying, oh my gosh, yeah, this sucks, or like whatever the situation is, like, has me down bad. Like, you shouldn't be criticized for that. People should just be able to admit, yeah, girl, that sucks. I'm sorry about that. That's it. But also, let's get something straight. This episode is not about being negative, it's about being real. And understanding that not feeling grateful 24/7 doesn't mean that you're broken. It just means that you're human and it's okay. Don't feel bad about not being super grateful all the time. And if you've never heard the podcast before, on every episode, I'll tell you a little story time. And here's the thing, I was in a very abusive relationship for a lot of years. I was married to this guy and he was abusive in every sense of the word. Okay. I remember when I told a couple of people what was going on, like the reality of my relationship. Honestly, very little people had the guts to come tell me, oh, everything is going to be fine. But there were a couple of people that told me, like, oh, but you just have to look at the lesson behind this. And I was like, what lesson? This man just hit me. Okay, I have a broken lip. Like, what do you mean? The lesson. What is the lesson here? And of course, throughout this relationship, I was going through such a dark mental space. You know, I was very depressed. I was very lonely because one of the characteristics of abusive relationship is that they will separate you from your people and they won't let you have people. So it was a very dark space for me. So for somebody to tell me to look at the silver lining felt borderline disrespectful. It's like, are you living inside of my head? Do you know what I'm going through right now? No, I can't see the silver lining right now. It's incredibly hard. And there were some times where I was like, okay, I could see this benefit or this thing that it's kind of positive about it, but people shouldn't get to tell me that in that specific situation. Because if these people were in fact living inside of my body, I swear to God, they would just let me be sad and they wouldn't be trying to fix me. And I get it, okay? They meant well. It's not like they were just trying to overpower my feelings. Like, they meant well by their actions. But a lot of times that version of support not only makes you feel sad, but makes you feel sad and guilty that you are sad. It's so like it only like increments this guilt and this feeling of, damn, like, yeah, I'm going through something bad and now I feel bad about feeling bad. So let's just state the obvious. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not be okay all the time. Sometimes shit just sucks and you have to sit with your feelings and you have to process them and you have to be sad. Or you can be disappointed, angry, scared, whatever it is. You don't always have to reframe whatever you're going through into a lesson, into a positive thing. Sometimes things just hurt and that's the end of the story. Or at least for now, at least for that moment, that's the end of the story. And that's okay. And here's something that took me quite a couple of years to learn, and it's that you don't have to hurry your healing process to make the people around you feel comfortable. Let me tell you that again. You don't have to hurry your healing process to make people around you feel comfortable. I feel like as women, and especially women of color, we get conditioned into being emotionally palatable. Like, don't cry too much. Don't be too loud. Don't be too angry. Don't this and this and this. Don't bring the vibe down. But what if the vibe is down? What if my vibe today is down? Like, what if I cannot pretend to be okay? What if? Because to be honest, there's something so beautiful, question mark, special definitely, about allowing yourself to experience the moment. Even if the moment is messy, even if the moment isn't pretty, even if the moment is hurtful, you allowing yourself to, oh, these are the feelings that I have, let me feel them. That should be a little more accepted than it actually is. Because that version of you, the version that's feeling sad, depressed, scared, whatever it is you're feeling, also deserves a little bit of compassion. That version of you that can't say, like, yeah, I mean, I got into a car accident, but like, at least I didn't get killed, like, maybe you're not there yet. Maybe you're simply saying, oh my gosh, I got into a car accident, I don't have insurance, how am I going to pay for this? Okay, like, yeah, sure, I didn't get killed, amazing, but how am I going to pay for this? That version of you needs a little bit of compassion. It needs a little hug to tell it, like, hey, it's okay to sit with these feelings, we will get through it, but like, yeah, let's accept the feelings that we have right now. So bestie, if you're going through it right now, maybe you're burnt out, maybe you're heartbroken, maybe you're simply over everything. I hope that you understand and that you know that it's okay if the positive angle is not here yet. It hasn't hit you yet. And you don't have to force it. You don't have to shame yourself into being positive, because your emotions are not a problem to be solved. Okay, they're simply signs. They're telling you where you're headed, how you're feeling, but they're just signs. And they're parts of who you are that are asking you to, like, hey, please give me a little bit of attention. And you might be wondering, okay, but I mean, I can't just get into that mindset. How am I going to do it? Listen, something that I've been practicing is allowing myself to feel without having to label it. Because I feel like a lot of times I would feel a certain way about something and then I'll be like, I'm being too dramatic. I'm not being too dramatic. That is who I am. Why am I calling myself dramatic? Or I feel like a lot of the times I'm not really good at like letting things go. I get stuck with feelings for like a very long time. So I had this issue with a neighbor and a little car accident. And I kid you not, like, I borderline hate this neighbor. This happened in January, okay? It's April. Oh my God, it's April. Like, I'm still sitting with this feeling of like this goddamn neighbor and it's like eating at me. And then I will feel like, okay, but I should be over this. Like, no, you shouldn't be over it. Okay, that's how my body is processing those feelings. That's like, even if my brain is still stuck to it, and even if since January I still haven't been able to see something positive out of all of this, so what? That is how I'm taking it. I'm also not getting depressed because of it, so like, that's okay. It's not like I'm just in this black hole of negativity because of it. Like, my life keeps going, but I'm still upset at the freaking neighbor. And I know that it might sound like something really simple, like, oh, don't label your feelings, but I swear to God, it makes a difference. Because when you stop trying to fix your feelings, you can actually start to understand them. You can hear them and say, oh, this is what's going on. And then you can move that pathway a little bit more gently. There is this line that I once heard, and I have honestly no idea where I heard it. Maybe TikTok, because that's everything I consume nowadays. But it said, grief doesn't need a solution, it just needs space. And it's not just grief, it's sadness, it's frustration, it's loneliness, it's all of these feelings that sometimes might feel a little bit too big for your chest, but they're still there. You don't have to perform your way out of these feelings. You just have to let them be. When you let them be, that's when the healing actually happens. And if you've been listening to all of this and you've been nodding along and feeling very, very identified with it, or maybe you're tearing up a little bit because it's hitting a little too close to home, first of all, you're not alone. I'm literally in the same boat. And second of all, I would love if you could follow the podcast and leave it a little rating on whatever platform you're listening to, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Give it a like, a rating, whatever it is. It means the world to me. And it also helps push this episode so that people that might need to hear these things actually hear them. And honestly, the more openly we talk about these things, the less isolated we feel. So if this resonated with you, just leave it a rating. I really appreciate it. And before we wrap things up, I just want to say there's nothing wrong with wanting to see the good things in life. Positivity is something beautiful. And actually, I just heard in another podcast that like being grateful releases oxytocin in your brain, like actually saying, oh, I'm grateful for this and I'm grateful for that, releases oxytocin. So like it makes you feel good to be grateful. But when positivity becomes a mask that you have to wear to actually mask your feeling and just push them back, that is not helpful. That is not, it's counterproductive, honestly. You don't need to, and you don't have to, positive vibes your way through every emotion that you're having. You can want better days, still acknowledging the hard day that you had today. You can be grateful and still be sad. You can trust the process and still hate that is taking it this long. You're not doing anything wrong by not glowing and thriving every single day. And that might sound a little negative, but it's real. So besties, let this be a reminder to give yourself a little bit of grace today. You're allowed to feel everything, not just the good stuff. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to not have it all figured out. You're allowed to not be positive. And even if you're not all of those things, you're still worthy of love. You're still worthy of peace. You're still worthy of support. You're not broken. You're real. You're a human. We all feel this way. Some people just voice it and some people don't. And that's it for today. I am very, very proud of you and I hope you're proud of yourself too. Besitos.